They fudded you out and now they're buying in. It's happening. Don't believe me? Look at this. MicroStrategy is the largest corporate Bitcoin holder with over 530,000 BTC, and the buys are not stopping. BlackRock, the world's largest asset manager, holds about $50 billion worth of Bitcoin. Not to mention, the US government is exploring a strategic Bitcoin reserve. While retail panic sold, the real power players bought the dip. It's clear that banks, hedge funds, asset managers, corporations, and government entities are buying this dip up. And unlike retail investors, they have the resources, liquidity, and the credibility to get involved. And while there's plays like Bitcoin and Ethereum that have been the obvious choices for institutional investors, there are some other players that don't get enough recognition. Projects with an intended mission, structure, and use cases that support enterprises and institutional focus. These coins are often overlooked or dismissed as boomer coins that are boring, outdated, or past their prime. I'm talking about coins like Hbar, XRP, and XLM. Now, I'm sure you've heard of these at some point, but are these cryptos just dino coins that are dead? Or is this where the smart money is quietly betting big for the next wave? Well, let's break it all down, and by the end of this video, you might never look at these coins the same way again. But before I dive in, just a quick note for all you crypto traders out there. I often get asked about my favorite exchanges to use. The truth is, I don't have one. There are too many hacks and downtimes to just rely on a single platform. Even the biggest names out there are facing issues. Remember the Coinbase Solana outage not too long ago? Well, it was a disaster. That's why I use over 10 exchanges. And one of my main go-to platforms is WEEX, which has no KYC or location restrictions. So yes, traders in the USA and Canada don't have to worry about being blocked. They offer some of the lowest fees on trading, and if you sign up with my link down below, you'll receive a 200 USDT bonus and a chance to earn up to 30,000 USDT in rewards. And if you want to get all the latest alpha on projects in the crypto space, then check out the FireHustle VIP Discord. I also share my content and portfolio moves in the Discord before it reaches YouTube and X. So if you're looking for a way to stay ahead of everyone else in this market, then follow the link in the description to learn more about the Discord group. Now hit those like and subscribe buttons and let's dive right in. So most people are busy with trading trends or meme coins or high APY DeFi plays. But here's why you need to pay attention to this video. We're looking at projects engineered for large scale, real world adoption and utility. Institutions are involved now more than ever, and they care about compliance, speed, cost efficiency, security, global scalability. Well, you get the point. And if we expect crypto to become more mainstream, then we need to look at assets that can integrate with existing financial systems. After all, this was the ultimate mission for crypto, right? To provide a medium of exchange and replace traditional payment methods that aren't efficient at all. Ripple and Stellar are sometimes praised for aligning with the ISO 20022 standard. But what does that even mean? Well, ISO 20022 is a global standard for financial messaging. It's a universal language that banks and institutions use to communicate with each other. Right now, the banking system in the real world is messy because different countries and banks use different formats to send transaction information. And that's why when you bank, you might notice delays, errors, and major fees. But ISO 20022 solves that by making a single modern format for messaging. It's like a universal language that can be used by any institution to easily communicate with each other. And crypto projects like Ripple and Stellar have tried to align with those standards over the years. Now, there was a point in time where ISO 20022 compliant cryptocurrencies were being talked about a lot. And we need to pick this apart a bit because I think there's a major misunderstanding here. Cryptocurrencies themselves can't be ISO 20022 compliant. This standard is created for financial messaging systems, not tokens. So instead, projects can choose to set up their ecosystem to work alongside ISO 20022 compliant systems. It's more about interoperability and opening up the ecosystem to traditional financial use cases. So for example, Ripple became the first distributed ledger tech company to join the ISO 20022 committee back in 2020. This gave them an advantage when it came to shaping their own tech to align with what's required to meet the standards. But what's actually compliant with ISO 20022 is RippleNet, which is Ripple's global cross-border payment system. So through this platform, other products like Ripple Payments are also compatible with this standard. And because Ripple Payments is focused on XRP-based transactions, this is what creates a connection between the XRP currency and the ISO 20022 standard. But to clarify, this is an indirect connection through a single product from Ripple, and it's still incorrect to say that XRP is compliant. The situation for Stellar is a little different. While Ripple does have a product that's designed with compliance in mind, Stellar doesn't actually have a dedicated product or platform. Instead, there is 100% indirect compliance through third parties. So partnerships with major companies and institutions that make use of ISO 20022 messaging themselves. So for example, last year, MasterCard decided to integrate a few blockchain networks into their crypto credential product. And the Stellar network was one of their picks, with MasterCard aligning with the ISO 20022 standard. This means Stellar would indirectly be involved with the messaging standard. But again, Stellar itself and the XLM token are not directly compliant. Now, this misunderstanding has brought up a lot of debate about XRP and XLM over the years. And while there are many supporters for these cryptocurrencies and the teams behind them, there's probably an equal amount of hate and FUD. That being said, these are two of the biggest crypto projects out there that have been developing their ecosystem for over a decade. Ripple is continuing their mission to become a leading global payment solution for institutions. And this includes continuously securing partnerships and expanding the ecosystem to give their products more presence in the market. Most recently, we learned that Ripple signed an agreement to acquire a prime brokerage firm called Hidden Road for $1.25 billion. Now, this is actually one of the most significant moves yet for the Ripple team. Hidden Road is responsible for processing trillions of dollars annually with hundreds of institutional clients. And this is a great example of the team pushing out their tech to new customers. While there are plans for incorporating the Ripple stablecoin as collateral in the ecosystem, this also opens up the possibility of increased utility through the XRP ledger and potentially even XRP as a medium of exchange. But this is just a possibility right now. When it comes to Stellar, they haven't been as active as Ripple when it comes to securing institutional partnerships. And that makes sense given their focus on financial inclusion for individual users around the world. But they've definitely been working hard in the background in other areas of crypto. You know how RWA tokenization is one of the major sectors with a multi-trillion-dollar future? Well, Stellar is contributing to this future with $500 million in real-world assets tokenized. If we look at the growth of assets on Stellar, according to RWA.xyz, this has been on a slow and steady climb since 2022, and the chart is currently setting an all-time high as we speak. We do see this drop near the end of 2024, but here's what happened. If we look at the largest protocol using Stellar, it's the Franklin on-chain US government money fund. And while Stellar has held the majority of value for this fund, it looks like several other networks increased their own value for this fund in November. This lines up with the drop in value for Stellar, which may represent a shift of the asset across networks. But you can see that Stellar still remained the largest holder of value for this fund, and it's only been rising month after month. Now, if we go back to the XRP and XLM currencies, unlike RippleNet, which doesn't require XRP for every single transaction, the Stellar network cannot be operated without XLM. This technically means more utility for XLM within the ecosystem. But because of the difference in volume and usage between Ripple and Stellar today, XLM is still much smaller in comparison to XRP. Now, the topic of Ripple versus Stellar runs much deeper. And if you're interested in hearing more about this, then leave a comment down below and I'd be happy to cover this heated topic. But let's move on to another project that's positioning itself for a massive institutional integration. It's actually an RWA powerhouse. I'm talking about Hedera. Now, we've covered this many times on this channel, but when I mention big names like Ripple and Stellar, Hedera is a market leader that we can't ignore. They're making big moves. Not to mention that in the last little while, Hbar caught a lot of attention due to its price action. It went up from below 5 cents to over 35 cents at the end of 2024. And since then, it has come down quite a bit to just under the 20-cent zone with the rest of the market and all of this tariff noise. And yes, this price chart is from WEEX, one of my main exchanges for trading crypto. If you haven't already checked this one out for yourself, it's super easy to get started. No KYC or location restrictions, super low fees, and remember, you get a 200 USDT bonus just for signing up for using the link in the description below. So go ahead and check it out and let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. So Hedera is a layer 1 network that uses a consensus mechanism called Hashgraph. But aside from the tech that makes it fast with low fees, Hedera is known for its large partnership network. The project gets a lot of support from the Hedera Council, which is made up of 32 big companies, including Google, IBM, Ubisoft, and more. They also have big partnerships with companies like Aberdeen, who are also on the council. Aberdeen is a global investment company that actually used the Hedera network to tokenize their billion-dollar market fund. We even saw Red Swan CRE, a commercial real estate company, launch its token studio on Hedera, and this allowed Red Swan to tokenize real estate properties that allows smaller investors to get involved. And these are just a few examples of their RWA RWA partnerships. But the point is that Hedera is becoming an RWA powerhouse through its infrastructure, including its Hedera token service, asset tokenization studio, and consensus service. The token service allows for the creation, management, and transfer of tokens, so developers can tokenize real estate, bonds, and more. The tokenization studio, on the other hand, is a toolkit that allows them to tokenize assets with ease. And the consensus service is what helps create trust and transparency because you can verify any data related to tokenized assets. All of these products were created to build an ecosystem that focuses on RWA tokenization, which is one of the biggest narratives in crypto right now, especially with institutions joining the crypto world. And it's going to help them capture a larger share of the tokenized asset market, which we expect to grow by 2030. And in my opinion, the ease of use is what's going to make Hedera a preferred choice for tokenization. Now, Hedera has been grouped together with major projects like Ripple and Stellar over the years. They've also been building for almost a decade, and similar to Stellar, their network isn't directly compliant with ISO 20022, and there's a possibility for apps and platforms built on Hedera to meet the requirements. But the focus for the Hedera team has been completely different from Stellar and Ripple's vision. Rather than specializing in cross-border payments, Hedera has been more of a general use network with many different use cases. RWA tokenization is a major one, but there's also DeFi applications which we know have a lot of potential. And even if aligning with ISO 20022 isn't their priority, compliance is still a key part of the operations. Their asset tokenization studio was designed to be compliant with SEC regulatory frameworks, and according to the team, they're continuously engaging with US policy experts and regulators to help shape the future of the project, as well as understand the future of crypto regulations. So while some people consider Hedera, Ripple, and Stellar outdated projects, these are teams that haven't stopped pushing for more growth. And what's going to be important going forward is forming moves with major partnerships, and more importantly, scaling up operations through more products and services. Of course, these are just my own opinions, and none of what I say is financial advice, so please don't blindly ape into anything just because I mentioned it here. My intention with these videos is to create a foundation of understanding and open up a discussion about different topics and projects in crypto. One piece of advice that I will provide you with is to do your own research. Read more about what's going on and really understand the project. That way you can make the best informed decision according to your personal goals. And that's all, folks. If you're interested in learning more about projects I'm watching closely, then come join me in the FireHustle Discord. You can find the link in the description below. And if you want more videos like this, then please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Remember, the crypto space comes with a high risk, and none of this is financial advice. I highly recommend that you do your own research before deciding to invest. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one.